everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on my lucky number 8, volume 8 of Berserk. And we left off on such a very good moment with Casca fighting Adon and with the Battle of Doldrey underway. I'm super excited. We haven't gotten to the Zod moment yet, and it's like, where Zod throws the sword. I'm very curious if we're going to get more in the manga than we did in the anime, because in the anime, Zod just pops up and Zod's like, hey, how's it going? Here's a sword, bye. And then the sword kind of gets abandoned too. The sword just gets left behind after that. So I was like, I also realized I didn't put on my glasses, which are usually used for reading blue screens and stuff like that and UV stuff. So maybe I don't need them today. You know what? We're gonna go adventurous. We're not gonna put them on today. We're gonna see how that goes. But I'm really excited. We have some comments that I want to get through. For volume 8 before we start. I may have to wait on the comments until volume 10 for these last few volumes. I've got a trip coming up, so I'm probably going to record volume 9 a little bit earlier than I normally do. So I may not get to any comments between volumes 8 and volumes 9, but that just means I'm going to have a crap ton of comments probably for volume 10. So, but yeah, we're right in the middle now of the Deluxe Volume 3, which I'm really excited about. We know why it sold out, probably because of Zod. But yeah, I am curious to know if we're going to get more out of the manga at this point than the anime, and the anime just didn't really have time to elaborate on it because it had an agenda and it had things to do. So, before we start, let's talk about these comments. Lyndon. I talked about in volume 5 the idea that there were not being like male genitals shown, that they didn't show no nipples, no peni, none of that, and that it was a little bit of a double standard because we see boobs and vagina all over the place with female characters. And Lyndon was like, "What are you talking about? I just drew penises and nipples all over my copies. I thought it was an activity book." I was like, so I thought that was hilarious, Lyndon. I laughed for a solid 30 seconds on that. I was like, and then because, yeah, I mean, could you imagine getting like a first edition signed copy by Miura of Berserk and some kids just drawing penises all over it? That would be awful. Moomin talks about, in relation to that in Japan there could be laws that are why we don't see male nipples, etc. I'm like, y'all don't, these censors trying to be like, we can't make the men vulnerable. I'm like, let's be real. But yeah, that's very frustrating. And then I didn't realize this, but Moomin was very nice to point out that I kept saying that it was Corcus in volume 5, and they were like, no, that's Gaston. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much more sense, because Gaston, being receptive to Guts, whereas Corcus, as we saw in the last volume, was just like, bye, don't even care about you, Guts. So it makes more sense that it was Gaston. I also like that the manga is giving Gaston more presence. So that will make Gaston's death, as we know later in the anime, all that more heartbreaking. So thanks, Miura, for making us get more attached to this side character that we're gonna lose. So awesome. Nice. I keep confusing Gaston and Corcus. I just need to keep in mind, if they look like they hate Guts, it's Corcus. And if they look like they remotely have any type of compassion towards Guts, it's probably Gaston. Emperor Gaiseric talked about Japan's laws against genitals unless it's in books. And I'm like, unless it's boobs. I put that in my notes. Yeah, it's really weird, the laws in Japan that are like, oh no, we can't show male genitals, but female genitals go all out. I'm like, why? just so ridiculous. And then Dogon Me pointed out, I didn't realize this, but yeah, Zod in the manga is nude, but in the anime he has his little clothes on and stuff. And I was like, the world isn't ready for nude Zod. Nude Zod, the world isn't ready for. No, I'm hoping we see him again. And here's my thought, because somebody was commenting, they were like, yeah, it's probably a good thing we didn't see Zod's giant schlong. And I was like, well, this portion of the manga has been adapted into the anime, so maybe later on, when the anime is no longer adapting the material, that Miura's like, I can kind of go all out. And who knows, we'll see. I'm still trying to process the fact that we will probably, by the time we hit volume 10, be caught up with the 1997 anime, there are 42 volumes of this manga. So that's like only a fourth of the story. There's 3/4 of the story that I have no earthly clue about. Like, I can't even fathom the depths in which the story is going to go. And that's kind of amazing, and I'm kind of all about it, but that is also terrifying. So you get to witness my terror week to week and see how that goes. Crispy Bacon, whose username is still amazing, notes about the laws of causality. And I didn't think about this, but I kind of like it. This theory about the laws of causality. Maybe they might... Well, first of all, they said the laws of causality made my internet go out, and that's why I have to use this equipment and read the manga the way that I did. And I was like, fair. I've got a secret behelit. Y'all just can't see it. It's a green behelit, whatever that means. But also, to go along with that, Nijbroka commented alongside Crispy Bacon, saying that Guts being born of a corpse puts him outside the laws of causality, possibly because he wasn't supposed to be alive to begin with. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of like this headcanon theory that Guts is outside the laws of causality and what the God Hand thinks is within the realm of possibility, because he is kind of an impossible entity in himself. He shouldn't have been born to begin with, but he's here. And that kind of would go along with the idea of him having bad luck and causing like misfortune to those around him because he wasn't supposed to exist to begin with. So he's kind of this anomaly. I'm like, I'm kind of all about Guts being this sort of anomaly that goes outside what the God Hand considers the laws of physics. And I'm like, I'm all aboard that. So that's really cool. So thank you for that theory. We'll see if it works out in the story. Yejing98 said that Guts, considering back in volume 4, Griffith's sexual attraction as making it... Oh, okay. So this note here that I have is talking about their comment saying that Guts could have considered back in volume 4 with Griffith having a sexual attraction as an easier way to deal with his reaction rather than considering it as to be care and affection. So we know that Guts and Casca are going to have a follow-up conversation to the cave from the last volume where Casca's like, are you a dummy? Do you not get it? Griffith cares about you. He loves you. And Guts is going to be like, what? And I liked that Yejing pointed out the idea that for Guts, because he's had these sexual encounters in the past, it's easier for him to rationalize Griffith's actions as just being sexual attraction rather than being something even deeper and more meaningful than care and affection. Because to Guts, you know, he's had all these encounters, but they weren't real love. They were just sexual afflictions. And for him, that's easier to rationalize, but somebody actually loving you and caring for you, Guts is like, I don't know what to do with that. So that's an interesting point to bring up. And I think it's going to be interesting in the manga to see what we do with that. And then Alex Cornejo, my mind is blown because I asked a few volumes ago, I'm like, how often was this manga in publication? Because I'm used to like, I've read Attack on Titan, the manga, which was like a 50-page chapter, and it came out once a month, which seems legit. And I was like, but no offense to Isayama. I love Attack on Titan. It's one of my favorite series. I love the manga, but no offense to Isayama, and Isayama will admit this in interviews, but their artwork is not Berserk. And so I was like, the level of detail that Miura is doing here, I'm like, how often was he doing these chapters? Because they're 20 pages now. So I'm like, okay, once it was serialized, how often was it coming out? Alex Cornejo said it came out bi-weekly. I'm like, in 2 weeks, which 2 weeks seems like a lot of time, but to do the level of detail that Miura is doing in scripting, in penciling, and I'm assuming maybe he had assistants doing, you know, the inking and lettering and line work and getting the shading and everything mapped out. And this was the 90s. So like the technology to shade and do tones and stuff, it's not like it is today. It was not like it was today. So I'm sure that as we get later on into later volumes that are from more modern times, I can only imagine what the artwork is going to look like. And I'm really excited about that. But I'm like, okay, so that's kind of crazy. I'm like, all right. But my mind is still blown that this was done in 2 weeks. I could not have done this. I was thinking like a month, but no, 2 weeks. That's insane. It makes sense now why mangaka like Oda with One Piece will do these. Because Oda, whether you like, Oda's art style is very acquired. You either like the One Piece art style or you don't like it. I don't know a lot of people that are like, oh, it's fine. It's either like, oh, no, it's fine. Or it's, But you can't deny that Oda's art style is very detailed. There's a lot going on. It's very busy. There's just a lot packed in those chapters as far as detail goes. And I don't blame Oda with One Piece being like, yeah, I just worked my ass off. I'm taking 2 weeks off. I don't blame him. And I feel like, kudos to Oda for getting rights to mangaka being like, now I'm taking off. Bye. If you want this successful manga, you're going to, have to deal with it. Because I think that I don't know a lot about Miura as a mangaka yet, but I know some modern mangaka are kind of setting the standard slowly but surely for getting a little bit more rights to mangaka, because they work really hard for these comics that we just digest in a sitting. Like, I'm going to spend an hour and a half probably on this volume that took this man months and months to craft. And I'm like, well, that was nice. And then move on. Whereas they're like, that was my blood, sweat, and tears for months. And it's like, huh. So that's so fascinating to know. I'm floored by the detail that Miura includes. It's mind-blowing to me. So yeah. But yeah, thank you all so much for the comments. I'm super excited about them. I've got my coffee ready. I'm so excited to see what's going to be happening in this volume. I think we're definitely going to get ZODD throwing the sword. I'm assuming this volume we're going to end the Battle of Doldrey, but as far as going beyond that, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. And I don't know if we're going to get more with the sword and ZODD than we did in the anime or not. So we'll just have to see. But in any case, I'm going to zoom in on the manga here. And we're going to turn the page and get started here with volume 8 in 3, 2, 1. Oh! That's why this volume might be selling out. Oh, we're not just getting ZODD in this volume. We're not just getting the end of the battle. No. If I'm thinking right, this. Oh my God! We're getting Guts leaving. We're getting Guts leaving Griffith and starting the beginning of the end. Oh my God. Which means in this deluxe volume, we're getting Griffith and Charlotte. We're getting all that. We're getting the breakup. That's why this volume sold out. I was like, are we getting to the eclipse in this deluxe volume? That seems awfully soon. No, that's probably going to happen in deluxe volume 4. But, oh my God. Oh, 8's my lucky number, and we're getting... So, Battle for Doldrey, Chapter 5 and Chapter 6, the triumphant return, which is when they come back from the battle. Moment of glory. Oh, my God. That's when we... In Tombstone of Flame, we're getting the smile. And then that's when the queen dies, right? And then one snowy morning, and the morning departure, Guts leaving. Oh, my God. Oh my God. Okay. I'm so excited. So yes, that sword snapped, and get that Guts booty, and then yeah, with Boscone. Yeah. I realize I sound like a hypocrite when I say that Guts booty, but then I'm like, why do you show ladies' boobs? But he's clothed there, I feel like Miura is... There are times where Miura really submits to the male gaze and gets it on there. And then there's times where he kind of subverts it a little. It's like Miura is playing around with, okay, what can I get away with? What can I subvert? What do I need to go along with because of my audience? I'm only 7 volumes in. What do I do? So it's interesting. I'm going to be curious to see this evolution as it goes on, right? And then we have our crew there. Griffith is just like... And the question is, the question remains, is he concerned, because he looks very concerned there, is he concerned because he likes Guts on a human personal level, Or is he concerned because he knows that Guts is an asset he needs to become king and can't lose him? Or is it both? I'm thinking it's both. And he's like, I'm screwed. Yep. Okay. My sword was messed up from fighting those 100 men. I was careless. Time's up. What now? Oh my God, there he is! Just, oh my God, the massiveness of the Clydesdale that Zod rode in on. I know you can barely see them hooves and them muscles. Them muscles on that horse, damn. like the other horses are going, oh my God. Just Zod looking, and I like that Zod put on a cape and boots with the fur. Like, it doesn't look like he's wearing anything else. And then, yeah, meanwhile, oh my God, I love how they're just teasing. You can't quite see who's on top of the horse yet, but we know it's Zod. But, and then Boscone spinning that damn sword around, you know, being like, here we go. And he knocks her helmet off. Yeah, it's the arrow. I'm like, Adon's such a bitch. Adon's like, the only way he can compete with Casca is by poisoning her. Come on now. And she's like, I'm in trouble. If I move too much, the drug's going to take effect. And then they're like, big sis. Oh, there's nowhere left to run. Look what you done to my face. I'm like, dude, Adon, I don't think her messing with your face was making it any worse. Just saying. And then I like she has a little scrape. She's like, let's start below. What a gross line. Let's start below the waist. She's like, yes, let's. Let me cut your dick off. I love he's like, what? Yeah, get it, girl. Get it, girl. Yeah. That's, I like that Miura does the pose where it's like, he does the action shots, but whereas it's like modern, I think of Naruto and I think of Bleach where the action is very fluid and kind of blurred in the moment. And here he does the step by step. Here is how it happened. And it's really, really good. Impossible. Yeah, bitch, no. And I love that she looks so slender and demure there, but it's just like, he's so over. It's like, Adon, you're so overcompensating. You're a total swine. Oh, and she just like took a chunk out of his mouth. Oh, man. That's crazy. And she's like, the rest of them are little fish. Rout them. Yeah, girl. I love that the men are all like, oh, yeah. And then on guard. Oh, my God. Boscone just looks so, it's in pursed lips where he's just like this. The pursed lips almost make him look more comedic than menacing. I feel like in the anime he was a little bit more menacing. But yeah, nuisances. And then, yeah, the guys try to step in to protect Guts, and Guts is like, no, get out of here. You're going to die. Oh my God. Oh, God, Miura, that artwork. That damn, like the way he inks that looks so freaking good. But man, just guts everywhere. Guts for guts. Why? Oh my gosh. That horse also looks crazy. That horse got on roids right before they like came out here. Lesson learned, folks. Don't take steroids. Damn, that's so, oh. And then I like that Guts is like, you know what? Guts is like, how dare you get my men, but what can he do? Oh, so we see the figure on the horse throwing the sword. That sword looks like, because it's got the ridges. I was like, it almost looks like eyes on the sword, but no, the eyes are actually like the spines coming off of it. It's very interesting. Oh my God. Like, and then I like that Rickert is the one that calls out to Guts. Corcus and Pippin are like, oh my God, he's going to die. Judo is like, shit, he can't die. We're screwed. And Griffith kind of Griffith has even taken off like the part of the helmet, right? To look. He's like, I can't stop his pole axe with a pukey knife like this. Son of a bitch. But then, there it is, the ridge. That big ass sword. And then Griffith's like, take the sword. You've been given something. Take it. I like that Griffith was just like not even hesitating. He's like, go. And then, yep. And here we go. Oh. And he was able to counter it. Oh, and there it is. Ah! Oh my gosh. Yes. Just took the whole thing off. Like, that would take me 2 weeks to do. That's just a page. Miura did that in like a sitting. Oh my God. I don't know. Okay, I don't want to take away from this beautiful shot because it is absolutely incredible and the line work and the detail is amazing, but I want to see what happens next. Oh, burp, burp. Okay, there we go. There we go. What I was going to say is, yeah, they're all like, oh shit, he took out Boscone, and there's the governor looking. Okay, good. As much as I love this shot and I love the little that just collapses, there was something about the way the anime adapted this, and it's the littlest thing, and people probably are like, you're making a big deal out of nothing, but the moment that he slices the horse's head off and the horse just keeps walking and then it falls down like an after effect, there's something about that that's always going to linger in my mind. That's one of the shots of Berserk I'm never going to forget, and I can't quite describe why it stands out to me other than it's just like this like lingering life, and then you just see it. Like, it's the tiniest little detail, but it's details like that that's also in this manga that make it just that much richer, and there's no other way to describe it, but the bastard did it. Corcus is like, I didn't think I had $20 saying he was gonna die, you know. Oh, and then that useless Boscone, he's the only reason you guys were out this far. And they're like, Governor, look, because he tries to send him. And then, oh my gosh, look at this double spread. Oh, look at Casca. Look at this rando holding her up. Oh my God. Oh, she's just like, oh, who me? Who me? The bitch that won this war? Who me? Yes, girl, work it. Oh, that is such an amazing pose. Look at this guy. This random extra is like drawn so well. I love him. I don't even know who he is. He looks great. That is incredible. Wow. Oh, and then the next page is Griffith being like, Oh man, I can't believe the battle's already over. Yep. Okay, I wanted to talk about the governor's scene with Griffith, but we'll get to it. Look at that double spread. Look at that. Aw. Casca being so proud. She's like, we did it. We kicked that man's ass. Look at us. And then the enemy's standard. He's like, don't you fool get it? Your leader's dead. It's plain as day your fortress has fallen. You've all lost. I like that they do this move and Griffith crying out to victory because technically, there are still like a large number of troops for Doldrey that if they could rally their forces, and if they could have rallied their forces, they probably could have still won this, I think, because you're talking 30,000 versus 1,000, even though Casca and them took the fort. I think that the ones in the battlefield, if they had had the leadership to rally, then they might have been able to do something. But the fact of Guts telling them they've all lost, Griffith's like, yeah, do this battle cry to make it seem like we won, that we're on top of the situation, even though technically we might not be. That's a genius move, and it works because they don't have that leadership anymore. He's like, hunting down the enemy remnants, slaughter every last one who offers opposition. And they just go at it. Oh my God. Miura's just like, I'm just chopping off heads left and right, splashing guts. You guys know how I do. Here we go. And they all drove away. And they're like, morons, who told you to retreat? But the governor, and he falls down and his helmet falls off. Or no, it doesn't fall off, but he lands on it. Look at Griffith. Look at that shot. Him looking down. His white horse ain't even looking at the old man. The white horse is looking off in the distance. And Griffith's not even technically looking down at him. He's just standing there being like, who, me? I like that Miura makes his lips like so luscious there. I wanted to talk about this scene when we got to it. He's like, Lord Gennon, it's been some time. And he says, Griffith, my old friend. I'm like, old friend? Old friend? What? It's like, you and I have been good to each other. To betray that over the unfortunate matter of us being enemies now? Just a small matter. It's no big deal, right? And he's like, I've been searching for you day and night. Do you have any idea how much of my personal means has been spent? I'm sure none of my men would by any means even so much as wound you in this battle. Did you forget the night we had together? Oh, I'm sure he hasn't. Yeah, won't you grant me the wish? Won't you grant the wish of the one who shared it with? It was one night, but how I yearned for that again. Oh, the idea of a wish. Oh my God, in the God hand. Ho, 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 ho. I wanted to talk about this, but I wanted to wait till after the moment he dies to do so. But the fact that he talks about granting a wish, we're going to talk about this here in just a second. Because he's like, I don't resent you, Your Excellency. And then it's like, but it would be quite beyond the reason to say I've yearned for you. I have no emotional interest in you at all. Resentment, endearment, nothing. I just took the liberty of using you when the opportunity appeared. You were like a stone lying by the side of the path I walk. That and nothing more. Having your loose tongue spread pretty petty rumors about me would prove slightly inconvenient. So he's like, I really don't care if you live or die, but I'd rather you not tell people we were lovers because that would be really inconvenient for me and would kind of ruin my chances to become king. So bye. What I was going to say, because I was thinking about this, I reread Volume 7 this morning in preparation for this. And what I was going to say is that you can look at the governor and Griffith scene kind of at face value of saying that the governor is just an example of people that Griffith was like, I used you, I moved on. I don't have any attachment to you. I've just moved you. You're just one stepping stone on my path to becoming king. And we've kind of seen that motif with Griffith in what he believes is kind of the process of becoming king and the sacrifices he has to make along the way. But under that, what I was noticing rereading the last volume is kind of this interesting, because especially since this volume we're getting Guts leaving, is the idea that the governor is kind of what Griffith becomes. Before Femto, before the eclipse, before all that. But Guts leaving Griffith is kind of like Griffith leaving the governor. And what ends up happening. Now the context of why Griffith left the governor and what went on there, I'm not saying that that's paralleling Griffith and Guts at all. However, if you look at it here, the governor got attached to Griffith. Griffith left, and the governor made mistakes because of that attachment. The governor, if he had just let Boscone do his business, if he had just, which we don't know, there's a lot of what ifs there, but there's a lot of things the governor did because of that attachment to Griffith that led to his downfall. And Griffith, when Guts leaves, Griffith had that attachment to Guts, and when Guts left, it leaves Griffith to make mistakes like the governor does, and it causes his downfall until, the Behelit and the eclipse and all that business. But there's a parallel there, and I wondered if, Griffith saying here, resentment, endearment, I don't have any attachment to you, I just used you and I went. There's a part of me rereading Volume 7 and thinking about that scene in the anime that was like, okay, did Griffith, when Guts left him, kind of realize and be like, oh, was Guts just using me to find his purpose? Now he's left me and he didn't have any endearment or attachment to me. And I put in all this like emotion into him and now he's gone. So there is like a connection there between the governor and Griffith here that's going to kind of like twist and come back kind of like karma. And it's fascinating. I was like, oh, I'm wondering if that's what Miura intends. And I'm sure it's debatable, but we'll see. And then, he just left. I also like that he stabbed out, literally, he stabs out the same eye with the governor that Guts ends up losing the same eye. Not because Griffith stabbed it, at least not in the anime, but it's a very interesting parallel, right? And then also the idea of of Griffith leaving behind the governor and all these bodies on the battlefield. They're just little stepping stones. They're just one little piece of the ladder as he keeps climbing, and he just keeps leaving them. All the foreshadowing, right? So poor Casca. She's like, I'm feeling a little better. And everybody's all celebrating. Don't mind me. You guys see if there's any enemy remains. And then she's like, oh, phew, poor girl. Oh my God. But then, she's just sitting there being like, little old me, who minds me? And then who walks up? But my man Guts. I'm going to try to adjust this a wee bit. There we go. There we go. Get that in there. Oh, look at him. Yo, tough day. He's like, oh, just a tough day. You know, just doing what we do, right? And she's like, son of a bitch. And she's like, it's just a scratch, is what I'd like to say. You want to give me a hand? Look at them. Look at how cute they look together. Aww. I can't, Mira. And then looking out over the battlefield. And then there's Griffith. Yep. I like they both like look down and Griffith, the white light shining on him and everything and him looking beautiful. And she's like breathtaking. Poor Guts. It's like she's crying there saying it's breathtaking. But, you know, and it's this love triangle, damn it. It's like, girl, see the man that's right in front of you that's holding you up. But she's, you know, can you blame her for liking Griffith? No. I always think when the battle's over and Griffith's surrounded by everyone cheering that he's somehow out of reach, that he's somewhere far away, and it hurts. And there's that thing of like, yeah, Griffith is always out of arm's length and far away, but I'm like, there's a man holding you up right now that you're touching. It's like, girl. And Guts, you know, being like, does he feel the same way? And he's like, that ain't the case. Oh. He's like, you'll never get anywhere just standing there watching him, so let's go meet your leader. And I'm like, Guts, damn it. It's like, dude, he's such like this damn feminist icon. Guts is like, he's like, I'm not gonna, you know, he's like, even if I don't think he quite has acknowledged that he likes Casca that way yet. And she hasn't acknowledged that she liked Guts that way yet. But they both like Griffith. So he's like, well, we're not going to get anywhere just standing here. Come on, let's go see him. And it's like, oh, just melt your heart. And she's like, yeah. And I think in that moment where she like looks at him like, what a nice guy. Like, you getting me near my man. Even though I think Casca knows she's never going to get with Griffith. But she can't quite tell Guts that yet at the moment. And then she's like, oh. And he's like, trips over like he's going to fall. And she's like, stop that. And then they just leave the sword. He just leaves the sword. Couldn't be. But it is. But it is. Couldn't be. Couldn't be. But it is. It freaking is. Oh, Zodd's got some armor on now. What is this? Oh my God. Horse looks jacked. Zodd. Oh my God. Look at him. Look at him. Look at this like ram on the front of it. Oh my God. Couldn't be Zodd. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. I love me some Zodd. Look at him. He's like, bitch, you left my sword. Oh. The eclipse will soon come and the demon advent approaches. Look at how cute he looks. He's like, I don't know. He's like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, where you kind of just are like, aww. Love me some Zodd. Does he go back and get the sword, or they just leave it there at the castle? Why? Here's the thing. I'm sorry. But if I was thrown I guess that you could look at it two ways. One, if you just got thrown a random sword and you're like, this thing cut through a horse and a guy's head, like really clean, I'm going to hold on to that. I would kind of want to hold on to it, but maybe Guts is kind of superstitious and he's like, but where did this come from? Who made this sword? Is it cursed? I don't know. I don't trust it. So I kind of see it both ways. And plus, in a world where there are things like behelots that Guts is very creeped out about in general, maybe Guts is like, I don't want to take my chances. I can't believe we're getting this. I can't believe we're getting this. Oh, the triumphant return. Look at that spread. Oh, I love that. I love that, Mira. That looks great. Oh, I also love, again, we talk about our dissertation on Berserk architecture. The gothic, like demonic architecture surrounding the gathering of the cult that hates Griffith. Wow, I love the gargoyles surrounding the pillars are kind of representing the six of them as they're like in their little circle. I like the idea that Mira is illustrating the symbolic representation of this small council being like the demons running the circuit. They're the ones that are the foundation of this kingdom. And then you have the gargoyles that are on the pillars of the foundation of the castle. It's a nice little tie-in. Nice. But yeah, oh, look at them. According to the information, the Band of the Hawks, His Majesty plans to grant Griffith the position of general. They will also grant the White title, the supreme rank of the Midland Army, shared by the White Tigers and the White Dragons, to him and his band of the White Hawk. White gotta be white. Isn't that incredible, Minister? It's from a reliable source. I like that they're in the tomb. I'm assuming, is this supposed to be like the one queen, the original queen that died? Like, how dare you speak ill of her in front of her grave? Uh-huh. And so, like, but Minister Foss, it's Antiaris, a deadly poison. We'll put this in his goblet while he enjoys the victory celebration. And they're like, well, there's not going to be any mistakes made. Ha, ha, ha. Enter shady-ass queen. Look at her. Yeah, she doesn't look villainous at all. I liked the snake motif she had in the anime. It was very on the nose, and it was kind of fun. You're like, I can't imagine who the villainess is going to be. Oh, no. And it's her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, the queen's here. We have nothing to fear. Okay. She's like, take heed, all of you. While this plot will ensure hereafter the security of your social standings will no longer be threatened by this man, it exists in order to pluck this parasite who would eventually infect even our rule of our kingdom from the lion's body before the disease spreads. There's a lot to unpack with that sentence. There's a lot to unpack, being like, we don't want this commoner coming in and taking over our kingdom, changing our rule. Also, it's like when you think of him becoming femto later, it's like, well, that parasitic infection is going to spread. Also, if you wanted to look at it from, I mean, I'm definitely drawing straws and making conclusions that Miura is not intending here. It's just funny if you have the subtext of Griffith not being heterosexual and you're talking about kind of the gay agenda, then, but that's just me being shippy. So that's interesting. I'm not about to allow this long and glorious history of Midland's rule to be trampled upon by a lowly commoner from who knows where. For the sake of this kingdom and for all that is just. Oh, yes. Yes, the pearl-clutching small-town council that doesn't want outsiders in. Yes, yes, yes. We, too, value patriotism above all. There's a lot of commentary here that surprisingly holds true to today. I'm glad Miura is bringing it out. What? Confidential information that Queen and General Julius were involved in a love affair? What? Are you kidding? It was wise of me to plant the idea that General Julius's death was a plot designed by Griffith, which it was. But to think that she would go as far to volunteer to lead this plan. Holy shit! Oh, wow, this makes much more sense. Okay. I mean, Julius's death was a plot by Griffith, so Foss is not wrong there. He was not misleading her. He was actually telling her the truth. Oh! Well. Okay. So, well, I bet Julius's wife is like the fudge, but she was probably dead already at that point. But still, this poor king, his like bitchy wife is like having an affair with his brother. Oh my God. Well, so I was saying that she was doing this on behalf of her kingdom, that she, believes shouldn't be, diseased by the impurities. But I also thought she was doing this for Charlotte's behalf because she wanted her to marry like a nobleman. No, she ain't give a shit about that. She's mad because her side piece got killed. And I was like, what? Well, I wish that had been in the anime, but I could see why they cut it, Possibly. Okay. Oh, we're getting more into this. What? Julius. With his wide bug eyes. Oh my God. No wonder he had the bug eyes now, right? His Majesty made a good king, but not a good husband. Oh, that seems a little ageist, girl. The burden of ruling a kingdom must weigh heavily. Therefore, as one man, he had no time to give to his family. Oh, basically, she's like sitting there in her lingerie wanting him to come help out. And he's like, I got shit to do, girl. Perhaps that was an escape. Oh, from the sorrow of the death of the former queen, said to be the one and only woman he loved. Oh, she looks like Charlotte. She looks so demure. She has like the roundest, well, she has a heart-shaped head, but it's like the most heart of hearts shaped head. That forehead, I tell you. But then that's like a medieval thing where they push their hairline back to have more prominent foreheads. I have in the same way publicly, faithfully fulfilled my role as His Majesty's Queen these 10 odd years. So she's been there for like 10 years. Okay. I mean, I kind of see from her perspective where she was frustrated because, one, she seemed to have figured out very quickly that the king just married her because it would look for propriety that they needed a queen. Like a bachelor king in those times didn't look good or secure. So he's like, I need a wife. So you want to be queen, I guess. So I could see where she's frustrated that she kind of saw the writing on the wall that he didn't love her like he loved his former wife. So she was just there and thus he didn't do anything with her. And she was like, I'm a woman with grown women needs, you know? So I could see it from her perspective where she was like, and meanwhile, you have Julius who lost his wife and probably was like, I'm not like my brother, you know? As all had hoped, under the guise of a political marriage, I conveniently entered this kingdom as the Queen of Midland rather than the king's wife. That had been my disposition towards my weak, loving husband. The reason I would give my body to him was not love. Oh! These stone walls and marble floors were too cold for me to endure as a lone woman in an unknown foreign land. Oh, shit! We're going to just show this sex scene right now. More than love, I wanted to succumb to a simple, burning desire. Of course, we have to go back to desires. But now that is lost. I first understand just how much I resided within the warmth of the skin of that man with whom I shared no emotion. I was in love. I loved him. And I'll never forgive you, Griffith, not as the Queen of Midland, but as a woman will I take my revenge. Oh, I love this. I can see why they didn't want to show us Julius and her having sex, you know. I mean, censorship. But this is really good. And I kind of see from her perspective where she was like, why she was with Julius. But I like this idea that at first she's like, I was just with him because he was a penis and I was in a foreign land and didn't know anybody. And I'm a grown woman who got horny and wanted to get it on with somebody, and you happen to be conveniently available and were willing. So there we go. But she's like, she says at first, she's like, I was just horny and it was just lust. I didn't have any love. But afterwards, you know, you don't know what you got until it's gone. She's like, I realize now I did love him. And it's not like, because if she didn't love him, she wouldn't care. She's like, if it was just like a fling and she's like, you were just something for me to have sex with, I don't care about you, then him dying should have been like, I'll find like another person in the court or someone to like have sex with if I need to. Not a big deal. But her realizing, being like, damn it, no, I did like him. I just didn't realize it until it was too late. Which kind of has a little bit of a shade of Griffith there, because Griffith being like, until Guts was gone, Griffith didn't realize what he had and how he felt until Guts left. We're getting lots of shades of you don't know what it's got till it's gone, and this is all foreshadowing Griffith, you know, getting this karmatic comeuppance with Guts leaving. Because first there's the governor who was like, I loved you and lost you and now I wanted you back. And Griffith's like, whatever, boop. And then you have this queen who's like, I love Julius, I lost him and now I want him back. And Griffith's like, boop, don't care. And so you have these two people kind of just that are experiencing the feeling that Griffith is going to be experiencing with Guts leaving. And it's like, well, this was kind of foreshadowed in this volume. Also, I want to say Miura does a really good job of drawing sex scenes. They're not like horrifically explicit, but yet you know exactly what's happening. Does a really good job with that from what we've seen so far. I'm very excited to see the Guts and Casca scene when we get to it. And they're like, okay, we're going to seal this blood oath. Like, you know you're in a cult where they're bringing out the blood oaths. Damn, I love what we're getting here. I love the extra that we're getting here. All right, and then everybody coming in. Look at them. Griffith's just walking in. Everybody's like, oh my God, look at him. Is Corcus dabbing? Is Corcus dabbing? He just needs to move his head this way and he'd be dabbing. What? What, Corcus? I like the guy in the back that's like, what's that about? Did Corcus invent the dab? Did he? Is this something Berserk has influenced as well that we didn't know about? What? There are so many people in Wyndham. They all got their Wyndham rewards. But yeah, I like Corcus just soaking in the attention. Judo's like, eh. Pippin's like, oh my gosh, all the little kids. He's like, stop following my horse. And I love Rickard getting the flowers. Rickard deserves all the flowers. That's so freaking cute. And then Casca's like, oh, I do not want all these ladies. Like, look this way, miss. She's like, I'm not into you ladies. I know I look like I am, but I'm not. quit stereotyping me. Mm-hmm. And then the Raiders, Captain Guts, the mightiest warrior in the Hawks. Guts is like, "Rrr." And then, yeah. And then, okay, Gaston. See, Gaston has like the same nose as Corcus, so I constantly get them confused, but he has the ponytail, whereas Corcus does not have the ponytail. That's good to know. He's like, this is amazing. I feel like he'd have a Kansai Ben accent. Yeah. Why don't you try waving for once, Captain? You're the hero. Oh, I like this little moment with Gaston and Guts. Damn it, Mira, you're going to make us feel even sadder when he's gone. Quit making us connect with Gaston more. Stop. Yeah. I will get my own kingdom. He's like, I never imagined this in all 3 years. Nobody but him. It's absolutely incredible. You cannot tell me with that look, that little smile, you guys can't see it on the page unless you have the deluxe edition or you're following along with me, but that smile that Guts is giving, thinking about Griffith, I mean, let's be real. Guts likes Griffith. He may not realize it, but it's there. It's there. And then Charlotte, I did love Charlotte's dress in this scene. I thought it was really, really pretty because she wants to see Griffith. Yeah. And she's like, Lord Griffith. But he just walks on past. She's like, oh, poo. Poo. Oh, shit. She can't say shit, so she just says poo. Yeah. I'm like, we'll have to wait till the victory ball. And then, yes, this queen that doesn't look suspicious at all, hiding in the shadows, all's going according to plan. Mwahaha. We'll hold a banquet in memoriam of him. Oh my God, girl. And then, yes, an irony. The white hawk of the battlefield will meet death within the stone walls of the birdcage. What poetry, Foss. What poetry. And then, yeah, although he gets to die on the best day of his life. Well, you know what? I guess you can wonder what the real death day of Griffith was. Was it this day? No, it's a day that Guts leaves him, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And then that's when he gets the letter being like, you bastard. Yes. And I love that it says you bastard. And we're like, well, who could have sent him the note? What is he talking about? Who's he calling a bastard? You turn the page and there's Griffith on that damn horse. Nice, Mira. Nice. I'm so excited we're at the ball. Yeah, it's Lord Griffith. This feels very Cinderella, and I kind of love it. I also love that you can see up there above the chandelier all the angels and everything flying in the air. Nice. Look at this spread! The moment of glory. He's on the edge of glory. Yes, I just have Lady Gaga playing in the background. Griffith looking stunning in his dashing robes. Guts looks amazing. I like that Guts is taking full advantage of the pockets, as you would. Corcus and Rickard are kind of like, should we be here? And Judo's like, seems legit. And then Pippin is so expressionless. Man, that shot is amazing. I love that. This is where all the tax money from the masses ends up. Judo calling out the bourgeois, these bourgeois pigs. Talk about showy. Like Rickard's like, this is embarrassing. And Corcus is like, what's more embarrassing is my pilgrim hat. But he's like, we finally made it. He's like, but we really have. It's like a dream. And Rickard's like, if I hadn't met up with the Hawks and with Griffith, I wouldn't have thought of a dream like this big castle hall. And Judo's like, yeah, exactly. And then Guts is like, I mean, it is all thanks to Griffith, right? That they're there. And then all these girls like rush past and like surround him. And they're like, oh, and they're like all trying to get his like tails. And Judo's like, damn, he's a natural. Why does he get all the ladies? And then like Corcus is like, please send one my way. And he's got the veins popping out of his eyes. Oh my God, Corcus. Oh. Meanwhile, I like these, like, you're one of the Hawks commanders. I love how Miura draws Corcus's just like absolutely fool pride face. Mm-hmm. And then all these girls around Guts being like, oh. Yeah, and Guts is like, I don't know what to do around all these ladies fawning over me. Mm-hmm. I'm glad the ladies don't just like run away from him, because there is this like idea of the girls not wanting to be around Guts because he can seem intimidating. But I like they don't do that here. They surround him just like they do Corcus and Pippin and anyone else, right? And then, oh my God, Pippin being like, when the girls are like, oh, amazing muscles, let me touch. I like that Pippin's like, no consent, please stop. Like, consent for Pippin. Like, ladies, leave him alone. Meanwhile, poor Rickart's like, I'm just a kid, leave me alone. And then Corcus is like, well, I am the one who taught him the sword. What did he say there? Corcus! Corcus basically just... One, poor Pippin, because he clearly does not consent these ladies touching all over him. Not cool. Ladies, back off. But Corcus just threw Griffith under the bus and was like, oh, hey, ladies, I mean, I taught Griffith the sword and he's gay anyway, so. Corcus. You can't do that. Oh my God. Like, Guts was questioning it, but he didn't use it as a thing for the women to get the women away from Griffith. Corcus, you bitch. Oh my God. Meanwhile, all of these guys, including Tom Selleck here, who's just like, isn't he festive? Like, oh my God, like, how dare he get all the ladies around him? Inner aggression, if I've ever seen it. I love, oh my God, the metrosexual knights that are just like Owen and what's the other guy's name? I forget his name now. Owen and something, where they're like, those men, they seem to have some inner aggression. We're not worried about the ladies surrounding Griffith. God, I love it. I suppose the generals can fail to recognize the truth of the Band of the Hawk's merit. I love these guys. They just got done making out in a corner, and they're like, why are these guys all mad at Griffith? Oh my God. Love them. Okay. Laban. Sir Laban. Yes. He's like, I would stake out a share. He's like, those words are some of Minister of State, Sir Owen. He's like, henceforth, that may be necessary. The war will end. Would it be that the peace which will follow lasts for the time enduring? But for better or worse, in the world of peace, warriors like us who live by the sword have to find a means of survival. And ironically enough, the same can be said of the very man who brought about that peace. He's too conspicuous to proceed peacefully and uneventfully inside the castle. The more radiant the light, the darker the shadows fall. Yes. So he's like, he's either going to become king or he's going to get assassinated is the two options. And we know how this goes. Yep. And like Guts is like, I hate these parties. And then Casca, Casca's like, get me out of here. Let's go. And he's like pushy broad. And then that's when he realizes that it's Casca. Oh, she's like, they refuse to leave me alone. Guts is like, oh, our bisexual king. And she's like, I swear when it comes to those aristocratic prodigal sons, a female warrior must be a rarity. Treat me like I'm some exotic beast. And then she looks over to Guts, who's looking at her like he's dumbstruck. Oh, she's so cute with her little bob. Her pixie cut's grown out a little bit. And he's like, I didn't know you were into it. And then she's like, I bit my tongue. She's like, this is embarrassing. Poor Judo. Like, Judo's surrounded by the ladies, but Judo noticing that... I always thought of it as Judo noticing Casca and Guts going off, and Judo, like, writing down in his journal, being like, yes, there they go again, like further proof that they're going to get together. But if you look at it as Judo liking Casca, here's the thing though, Judo never offers any expressions throughout this manga that he likes Casca. He never offers any expressions like he's jealous that she's with Griffith and Guts. He never offers that. So that's kind of why I was like, if Judo liked her, he did a damn good job of hiding it, and he was not a jealous person, which kudos to him for that. But I just thought he was like, you know, making a mental note of interesting that they're going off together. And she's like, I'm not good at this. I'm more comfortable swinging a sword. And Guts is like, same. What made big sis Casca the demon go flittering around like this? And she's like, what'd she say? Cut the demon. She's like, I'm not a demon. I dress like a man because it's easier to move around. It's not like I do it for kicks. But I guess I shouldn't try things I'm not used to. Oh. I'm much more muscular now. Do I look weird? And Guts being like, no, you look pretty good. Aww. Get it, Guts. You look a lot better than those noble girls flocking around Griffith. Why not ask him for a dance? She's like, oh, I couldn't. She's like, I'd step on his feet. And Guts is like, I wanted her and Guts to dance. I wanted him to, because he's like, go dance with Griffith. And she's like, no. She's like, I don't want to make him look bad. And Guts is like, well, here, dance with me. That's what I wanted, but it's not a full-blown romance. It's not a shoujo entirely, so whatever. And he's like, you've never shown your face in a place like this, but I wanted to see it for myself. Ah. He's like, everything Griffith, myself, and everyone else has done these past 3 years since I met you all. The things he managed to get so far, and all he's going to try to get from here on out. I wanted to come see it with my own eyes. And she's like, you're serious then, right? You're going to leave. Ah. And then the king shows up. Poor Charlotte. Charlotte gets a downgrade with them little pigtails. She looks like a Digimon with those little pigtail bobs there. Poor her. Gets a downgrade, and then the king shows up. I like the king's threads. Those look really good. The sponsors appear. He's like, you go on ahead. I'm going to enjoy the air a bit more. But then he's like, hang on. Oh. I feel like in that moment he could have told her something, but he decides not to. She's a little disappointed because I feel like she was expecting him to say something to her, but I wondered if he was going to leave yet. I wonder if he was thinking about saying goodbye to her, like he was going to leave, but we know that he ends up coming back, so maybe he thought that this mission might not work, so he wanted to say something before, but then he's like, there's a reason I showed up tonight, and the rest of the band of Hawks don't have a clue. Isn't that cruel, Griffith? Yeah, because it's like, I like that Guts says, isn't that cruel, Griffith? Like, you're not going to tell them that you're planning this big assassination plot, and that part of it is going to involve you seeming like you're dead, and they don't know. He's like, that's cruel to make them go through that, because Guts knows how much Casca loves Griffith, and that she's going to freak out. And Guts is like, really? And then I like that we have like the Atlas. The statue looks like Atlas holding up the world. Very on the nose. Yep. And then I like that Charlotte is waving towards Griffith. She looks so young there, which will make the scene later with her and Griffith all the more awkward. She looks like a little kid there. She does not look like a grown woman. Not like Casca. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they're talking about making, in 2 days, we're going to make the white title to the Band of the Hawk. Mm-hmm. I like that Casca's trying to move her way through. Yes. And then I love Corcus's face. Corcus's face as he's announcing that they're going to be the white Phoenix General Griffith. Oh my God. Oh, and the white Phoenix Knights. Oh, instead of the White Hawks, they're the Phoenixes. Oh my God. That's on the nose. That's on the nose. I don't think it was like that in the anime. That's on the nose. Yeah, but that makes sense because you have, white tigers aren't really a mythological creature, but dragons, phoenixes, makes sense. Yeah. I just love Corcus's face. Corcus is like about to burst. We're going to be nobles. And Griffith is like, mm-hmm, yep. And I like that Griffith kind of looks like, yep, we are. It's just going to cost us to get there. We're going to cause a little rumble before we get there. But here we go. Him looking over. Not ready. Oh my God! I'm sorry, my dog's just freaked. That face, that smile that Guts gives Griffith, the moment of glory where Guts is like, this is it. This is that look between Guts and Griffith where he's like, he looks to him being like, you ready? You ready, boo? And he's like, I'm ready. And I like Guts being like, this is the moment where we make your dreams become a reality. And he's like, this is my last mission I'm going to do for you. Which Griffith doesn't know yet. Griffith, Guts is thinking in his head, he's like, this is my last gift to you, Griffith. I'm going to help you become king and secure it. We're going to get rid of the queen and her men before they can kill you. And then in 2 days, you all will be knighted and you'll get everything that you want. Because the war's about to end and you'll have everything that you want in the palm of your hand. And Griffith is thinking, you're going to help me secure this. And then we're going to be so happy together. They both think that they're going along the parallel route that's going to work out great. Guts is just like, Guts thinks they're going on this parallel route that's eventually going to split. And Griffith's like, we're merging the roads together. And I'm like, you guys are on different wavelengths and you don't even realize it. Oh my God. The white Phoenix Knight, the white general. I like that Corcus is conveniently like hiding his boner from all of this with the hat. And Rickard's like, this is amazing. Oh my God, there's just no dialogue. And Casca's like trying to get to Griffith. And then Guts is like, okay. Yep. Your life will end soon. Intoxicate yourself with your delusions of grandeur while you can. Well, I mean, she wasn't wrong, but I like that this is all spread out, making it look so like what's going to happen, what's going to come to a head. And then there's this guy that put the poison in there. Here you go, sir. Uh-huh. Yep. The birth of our new young heroes and the shining future of Midland. This definitely did something, I'll tell you what. And everybody's like, a toast. I like that they give Rickard alcohol. They're like, here you go, Rickard. You're a kid. You can drink it. And he's like, yeah. Midland clearly has no statute on that. And that's when he drinks it. Oh. I like that Corcus is like mid-drink, like, what? And Judo's like, mm-mm. Oh. They make you think that he really is just dead. Just dead. And then you're like, but what was that smile about? What's happening? And of course, Casca freaks out. And Charlotte freaks out. And everybody's like, I like the metrosexual knights like instantly like move into position. They're like, okay, everybody, let's damage control. Don't let anybody out. Oh, and of course, Casca has Griffith in her arms. Oh my God. And everybody surrounding him. But then look at Guts' threads. Look at these threads. Look at that hat with that feather. Look at that cloak. Look at how much our boy has grown. Look at him. Look at him looking all dashing. Oh my God. Wow. Oh. And then we know it's Guts. Let's be real. But I like that Mira's trying to make it look somewhat mysterious. And then he just gets decapitated. Look at this. And they're like, it seemed too easy. Yeah, that was the thing watching this episode. I was like, everything seems too easy. And also Guts isn't freaking out. I think the fact that they smiled at each other and Guts wasn't there instantly made me go, well, he's fine. Right? Mm-hmm. And be like, what are we doing? Is this just fake? Is it actual poison? What's going on? But then, yes, of course, Foss is like freaking out because he's like, and the queen is like, there's clearly something wrong. I'm going to go check on the pandemonium. And he's like, getting out of here and letting them all die. Yes. And she's like, well, now that that's all done, I'm going to thank you for your support. Yes. And she's like, With this, he can rest in peace. That's kind of the crazy thing, is that you think she's just doing this for spite, and then you realize, wow, she really also in this moment kind of looks peaceful, like she was going to let Julius rest in peace knowing he'd been avenged. That's such a crazy twist to all of this. But then, yeah, they can't get out, and everything starts lighting on fire. Oh, what is this? What is the meaning of this? And then walking out of the shadows like such a boss move. Oh my God. Oh. And then it's just like such a symbolic boss gesture to just take the ponytail and go, oh yeah, let me reveal to you who I really am. Right? I feel like there's a lot with Griffith of reveals, like him taking off helmets, him like opening up the helmet to reveal his face, him loosening up the hair, and then femto. There's a lot of Griffith like evolving as a character and revealing himself to people over and over again, coming out of the shadows. There's just a lot that we go with Griffith, but that is a beautiful shot. Yeah. Oh, look at that. The Tombstone of Flame. We wasted no time getting to this chapter. We're like, nope, wasted no time. Yep, I arranged it that way. It was not poison. It was nostrum, a hyoscyamus-based mixture that puts you in a temporary stasis close to death. If I had taken a fatal dose, I could have died, but it was worth the risk. I love his legs look so scrawny there. Like Griffith's legs look so thin there. I'm sure that's just Mira's like not concerned. And they're like, spare me. Ah, this is war. There are no spectator seats on the battlefield. Oh my God. Yeah. Like you killed Julius. Those who die on the battlefield are not royalty, nobility, or commoners. They are the defeated who die. Oh my God, I love Griffith's, like his eyes. He looks so cold there and looks like a hawk where he's like, no. He's like, it doesn't matter who you are when you're on the battlefield. You either play the Game of Thrones or you die. Oh, the line work and everything is so good there. But oh my God. Oh, her face when the like roof of that church, of that temple is like collapsing on them. It's like such a good, like, oh shit, I'm dead face. Mm-hmm. She also looks in that moment kind of like, again, this is a very awkward, weird reference, but the Care Bears movie, like 1988. There's a mask, like there's a book that has a face, and her face in that moment looks like the book. And then I like that Griffith just tosses his hair and he's like, yep, done, good, over and done. It's over, Foss. Oh. Yep. He's like, are you frightened because you betrayed your comrades or because you took part in the assassination of the queen? He's like, how did you know? He's like, I didn't know. He's like, you're different. I had predicted you would become my enemy since the morning you left. He's like, yeah. He's like, you caught sight of my eyes then. I knew that you would never permit my existence. I like the idea of you caught sight of my eyes. You saw my real self. You saw who I really was. And I knew at that point that, yeah, you were not going to, you were afraid of me and wanted to get rid of me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I like that Griffith took a gamble. He's like, I judged you as a person and I was not incorrect in my judgment. And the gamble proved successful. Oh! In that instant, your eyes betrayed your fear. That shot of Griffith in the shadows and that shot down there when a man is faced with something he truly fears, he cannot ignore it. He has two options. He becomes subordinate and fall, or he can strike out and erase the fear. Oh my God. So yeah, so Griffith's saying that, I mean, this is tying exactly to why he sacrifices the others. His fear about Guts leaving and his fear about not being able to move forward without Guts. He's like, either I succumb to it and I fall under its wing, which him becoming Fento, oh my God, or I strike out and erase the fear. So you can't be in love with someone if they're not in existence. One of those sort of things. But God, the way that he looks like Zod, like a demon there is, and it's just his eyes. I mean, they're windows to the soul. So we're seeing Griffith's soul bared here. Yeah. And then he's like, the queen herself would play a part, and that was unforeseen. And then Foss saying, this man is dreadful. Yeah. I mean, we as the audience should not be surprised by Femto's existence. We have been foreshadowed that Griffith is this duality from day one, and some people see it and some people don't, and the people that see it usually don't live very long. It has been foreshadowed from the start. Oh, I always love that shot in the anime where Foss was in the shadow of Griffith, and here it's like side by side. He's like, there's no need for the blood oath I confiscated. Oh! With our mutual future in mind, let's not allow some silly enmity to linger between us. I hope we can be amicable henceforth. That face is terrifying. His eyelashes almost make it look like his eyes are just black. What the fudge, show? What the fudge? When he's done so much, how can he smile so innocently? Oh, that's such a great line. Yes, he's like, how can, when he's done so much, him just smile so innocently? That's that duality. It's like Griffith is either terrifying and you're like, oh shit, you're a serial killer, or he's just like, everything's fine. It's great. It's that facade. Yeah. I will turn to you what I promised. Oh, and then there's his daughter. Oh, Elise. Oh. Why is she so cute? She's so cute and he's Foss. What? How does that work? Okay, then we have these shady characters. I like that Miura went to the trouble. He didn't go to the trouble of even making them look remotely, innocent. They all look so greedy, and they're like the stereotypical greedy faces, right? Just wanting the money. And they're like, we'll be on our way. And Griffith's like, yeah, you'll be on your way to the grave. Because then there's, again, yes, the dragon eating what looks like the lamb. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, of course, Guts showing up with his, like, crazy eyes and beautiful hat. And that big-ass sword. And he's like, it's over, yeah. I'm like, Miura, we knew that was Guts from the start. Who you think you're fooling? Who you think you're fooling? Come on now. We knew it was him. You didn't even do much to hide that. Yeah, he's like, that takes care of all of it. I was like, we knew it was Guts. You fooled no one. Yeah. Also, an eye popped out. We had to get that in. Had to get our random eye shot in for this volume. They did their work to earn it. Leave it with them. I like that Guts says it's a hell of a waste. Money makes the world go round. What a waste. I like that Guts says that because that's kind of all he's known. Is just being a mercenary and doing things for money. Is it safe to let the bald guy go? I like Griffith's like, today taught him a lesson. I can't predict the future, but probably. And he's like, what do you mean probably? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Yeah, I like the Griffith's like, well, he learned his lesson as we slaughtered everyone around him. He'll probably be fine. I was like, ah. And I like that Griffith just has this demure little face where Guts is like, what do you mean probably? He's like, we'll just see. The fudge. I'm like, which kind of ends up backfiring on him. Yeah, the castle's gonna be upset. This one night's seen a mountain of corpses with the queen on top of it. Thankfully, not one person who could name you is still around. I doubt anyone would ever suspects someone who nearly died pulling it off. Well, except for Foss, right? I like the Guts is like, wow, this worked out just like when Adonis died. And that's when Griffith says, does it seem cruel? Ooh. I involved you in this filthy scheme, and I didn't even get my hands dirty. I left all the dangerous taxing work to you. Do you think that I'm cruel? The way he says that, I'm sorry, but the way he says that and like his face, it's just like the most handsome man you've ever seen being like, do you think that I did something wrong? Like the way that he's drawn there, it's like, of course, and Guts is like, it's just, even when Griffith is asking this very genuine question, the way he says it just makes him look so innocent that of course Guts is going to be like, idiot, baka. What kind of question is that for a guy who killed 100 men? This is part of your dream. And you believe in that, don't you? So what's with this shit now of all times? And then Griffith's being like, yeah, you're right. I like the gut. Oh, and Guts patting him on the back. Let's head back. Dead men don't walk around. Oh, I like that Guts has that habit of trying to like make people feel better. Like he like bumps Casca and he smacks Griffith, being like, come on, what are you doing? And again, we talked about this last volume. I can see why Griffith suddenly fell so hard for Guts, because he was like, you accept my dream. You accept that this is part of my dream and that what I'm doing is okay. That it's fine I'm sacrificing all these people because that's what needs to happen. It's like, yeah. You know, what can we do? Oh my God, Mira, why are you doing this to us? That him with the rumpled hat, being like, you got to get back quick so Casca and the others will stop worrying. And they're just smiling. And see, here's the thing, like, and they're both in the darkness. The symbolism of them in the darkness walking back towards the light. Oh my God. It's quite a sight to see. And the thing about it is, like, to Griffith, he thinks that Guts and him are just going to be able to keep doing this forever. And Guts is like, last mission. One snowy night. And of course, Griffith shows back at him. He's like, hey guys, thought I was dead, huh? Oh, look at Guts. I like that in the manga here, Guts is opening up the door and he's by the door. Like, I mean, yes, it looks suspicious, but I love that that's the case. Whereas in the manga, he was like outside the door watching, which he may still do that. But this spread, look at them. Look at them falling over each other to get to him. Even Corcus with the tears in his eyes. And Rickert too, and Judo with his little face. Like, ooh. Oh, I love this. I love this so much. This is like happy times before things go to hell. Right? Yeah, uh-huh. And then her crying and oh, I like that all the men there and Judo like watching. Judo is just like eating popcorn, spectating over this love triangle, right? And Griffith saying, I must have really worried you, Casca. Mm-hmm. And then Rickert being like, it was terrible. I love Rickert with his little ears. And he's like, that dress looks good on you. Of course. The thing about it is like Guts told Griffith that the dress looked good on Casca. And it's like, there is a part of me that gets a little flustered with Griffith only because I like that Corcus and them are like, oh, and I like Pippin looks away and Corcus is like, and Rickert's like, oh, should we watch? And I like that Judo has that leg out like, girl. I think Judo's onto it. Because the thing that's so frustrating in this moment is like, Griffith doesn't really like Casca. Not romantically, not sexually. He's not attracted to her. But he is like indulging her in this moment. But it's almost one of those things like, is that indulgence doing more harm than good? You know, he wants to keep her by his side, so let me indulge her a little bit. But like, we know how deep Casca's love, you know, or idolization for Griffith goes, and Guts believes that it's love. It's just like you want to bop these three upside the head, right? Meanwhile, Guts is watching this and seeing her and him hug, and in Guts's mind, he's like, oh, this is going to be fine. I can leave now, and Griffith and Casca will be together, and the gang's all fine. I can leave and know that we've done whatever needs to happen. Mm-hmm. So then several days later, the Queen's funeral was held in a splendid yet solemn manner. Now, it said several days later, so they pushed back the, did they push back the naming them Army of the Phoenix? Because they said it was going to be 2 days from the banquet, but then did they push that back because of the funeral? Possibly. The enigmatic deaths of the Queen and the conservative ministers, along with the attempted assassination of the Count Griffith on the same night, fell into the realm of whispered rumor. It was said it had been the work of the Tudors, hardliners, or possibly an assassin from a third country seeking to obstruct the Midland Tudor armistice agreement. And now that we know the Queen was having an affair with Julius, it's like, and the King wasn't really into her, that makes them being solemn like all the more understandable. So yeah. And then the following day, the remains of several individuals thought to be possibly connected were discovered outside of Wyndham Castle, but not enough clues were found to explain the facts of the situation. The truth vanished in the darkness. So here's the crazy thing, right? It says 1 month later. So I'm like, did they get knighted? Was that a thing? Were they knights, or did they just push that back? Because it seems like they were going to do that. And then, okay. And then Guts leaves his armor and the broken sword. And Guts seems so at peace with this decision. He just smiles there and he's like, yep, I've made my choice. I'm moving on. And they'll be fine without me. But then Casca is like, why is Guts leaving? I feel like they're like, this chick was a work of art. I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, Casca, where are you headed so late? Or wait, no, Corcus was telling Judo that. Oh my God, of course he was. Yeah, and he's like, nice outfit. Corcus, stop it. And then, Guts, are you leaving? And she's like, I was on bad terms with you for a long time, but we're comrades who've braved death together. All the trouble the Band of the Hawk has gone through is starting to pay off. It all starts here, right? Like, why are you leaving? And I'm kind of with Casca in that moment. I'm like, Guts, you know, he's not king yet. You know, there is a part of me that's like, Guts, you know, I'm going to sync this back just a hair. There is a part of me that is like, Guts, if you had waited till Griffith became a king, could this have all been different? Why are you leaving now? Like, but he's like, I've already made up my mind about this. I can't remain buried in his dream like this. And it's like, you get why Guts is leaving. You get it. He wants to go off and find his own purpose. That totally makes sense. I like the horseshoe clasp on his cloak too. But it's like, if you had waited like until he became king and then left, but hindsight, you know? And he's like, I hope things will go well between you and Griffith. And she's just like, Guts, come on, we've talked about this, you know? And that's when Judo and Corcus show up. And Judo's like, come on, Guts, come talk with us for a little bit. And that's when she's like, well, if anybody's going to keep Guts from leaving, it'll be Griffith. So I'm going to go get him. Like, I don't blame her at all for doing what she did. She was like, somebody's got to try to talk sense into Guts. And then they're sitting there. And I like that Guts is kind of like, I really want to leave. And they're like, hey, leave us alone, guys. Corcus is such a womanizer, right? He's like, why now all of a sudden? And Guts is like, well, it isn't sudden. I decided before our last dispatch that I would go. And they're like, are you dissatisfied? And he's like, I've got no reason to be. And he's like, these 3 years have been really fun, and it feels like a festival or something all the time, and I'm not dissatisfied. I like this girl Mary is just like trying to have, I like that Judo's trying to have a heart-to-heart with Guts, and Corcus is trying to hit on this girl Mary, and Judo's like, can you stop for 2 seconds and let us have this? And I like that he's like, any bar in town, you say you're the Hawk Commander at any shop and it's a free ride. You walk down the street and kids and women swarm you. It's no wonder we're heroes of the kingdom. And he's like, and we're going to be joining the nobles pretty soon. And then it's smooth sailing. So I guess they pushed it back because of the funeral and everything. But 2 days to over a month seems an excessive wait. But maybe it's just like anything in the government. It just, things don't get done on time. And he's like, we'll be castle lords. And he's like, but we got it. He's like, I can't tell you how many bloodstains memories I've had of enemy swords nearly taken off my head. We finally made it. I like Corcus kind of gives Guts this, being like, he's like, and you're going to throw it all away. Uh-huh. I like Judo's like, well, we don't know Guts' reasoning. And he's like, you only know how to kill people, that you wouldn't be able to dance at ladies' parties. You can swing a sword, but you can't swing a woman, right? I mean, Corcus, can you really say that? Man, those words don't age well for Corcus at all. And he's like, I can't do anything but swing my sword. Figuratively and literally. Yep. And then he gives like his whole thing about killing to survive. He's like, if one person had looked my way, And he thinks back to Gambino. But I realize that won't do me any good trying to survive. It was just a childish complaint. He was like wanting somebody to appreciate me and love me. That was just something childish, which it's like, it's not, but I wanted someone to look at me. And then we have, yep, he didn't have anything, but he was trying to take a hold of everything. Something about him made me think that it could happen. But in order for him to aim so high, he has to hone himself to the very limit. And that's why there's no room at his side for the weak. I've always loved the visual of him walking up the steps trying to meet Griffith, right? The more dazzling he is, and I've had enough looking up at him from inside his dream. I love that Guts is like, at first I thought I just wanted somebody to look at me. Kind of. And Griffith gave him that. Griffith looked at him and plucked him out and said, I want you. And Guts is like, that's what I've been wanting this whole time. But the longer I've been here, the longer I realized I want to be by his side as his equal. And I can't do that as long as I'm buried inside of his dream. It's like the snow is a metaphor for everything being buried. He's like, I can't just sit alongside him any longer. And I like that Corcus is like, what the fuck? It's like, I want to stand beside him by attaining something of my own. He's the only one I can't stand looking down on me. Oh my God. Well, that whole thing with Femto looking down on him in volume 1. Yep. He's the only one I can't stand looking down on me. I want to stand beside him and attain something of my own. Yeah. Damn. Well, that just makes everything that happens after the eclipse hit even harder. Oh my God. Okay. And then I like that Cork is like, stand beside Griffith. And Guts is like, no, I'm being serious. And Cork is like, he's different than us. And he's like, I'm not interested in class or rank. I want something else, something I can win for myself. I love how Guts is so calm as he says this. And he's clearly thought a long time about this. And Cork is like, you sound like a brat. And we've talked about this in the anime, that there's a possibility that Corcus is kind of mad because he realizes Guts is actually someone that may be like Griffith and could achieve his dream. And Corcus is like, and I like Corcus goes on this rant, being there's plenty out there who say all you need is a dream. And it makes me sick to look at assholes like that. An unrealized dream is just a load of crap straight out of a horse's ass. And Guts is like, well, don't you have a dream? And Cork is like, to hell with this. I can't stand to hang with this big baby anymore. Because he can't stand somebody pointing it out to him. And that's when Judo picks up the storyline and says he used to lead a band of thieves. I like Judo's here to give exposition. It was about 10 men and times were tough. And ever since then, he's been one of ours. Maybe there was something he wanted to win for himself. And Judo's like, well, I've been a jack of all trades, but I've never been the best at anything. And if I couldn't be the best, I'd fly in the wake of someone who seems the best. There's nobody who never wanted something. I love that line. I love that Judo's like, look, everyone has a dream at some point. It's the fact of, do you pursue that dream or do you settle? And Judo kind of seems like he settles. Right? He's like, I'm happy with things and where I'm at. He's like, I'm fine with settling. Judo's like, there's nothing wrong with that for me. I know my place. I'm happy with it. But you clearly aren't. And he's like, what you're doing is crazy, but I get it. You're not happy here. And that makes sense. Right? And he's like, to sacrifice your status as captain and the promise of peerage and knighthood dangling is, for something vague. He's like, it seems crazy that you're foregoing all this that's right in front of you for something you don't even know. Something seems like it's wrong with you, but maybe there's something wrong with all men. Dreams, win or lose. You could spend your life chasing one. I like that Judo's like, he's like, everybody's kind of crazy chasing dreams because there's no guarantee it's going to happen. So how is what you're doing any different? So I can't judge you for that. He's like, that day 3 years ago, I said you'd find a place to belong here, but I guess I was wrong. Oh, that all coming back. He's like, I hope you find your something. And I'm sure that that's what this entire story is about. But, And then he's like, I do want to ask you one thing. What's up with you and Casca? He's like, am I good? Because, and I feel like Judo's maybe asking this. We're going to talk about that in a second. He's like, ever since you fell off that cliff, you've gotten a lot closer. I like the Judo his face. He's like, oh, stuff's happened, huh? Why not try your luck with her? He's like, every old dog in the hawk knows that she and Griffith. And Judo's like, she can't be with Griffith. I think the Guts is like, huh? I'm like, I'm glad that Judo's just pointing out. He's like, Griffith rose up from having nothing to be a top general. He's like, he's not going to stop. The goal he pursues is one of a kind. And I like the Guts is kind of looking down at that moment like, I didn't think of it that way. Like, yeah, he's like, Griffith won't have any opportunities to shine in military. His chances of promotion will be slim. Even if he's a general, he's still a soldier. There's nothing beyond that. He needs a trump card. Don't you get it? It's the princess. Yes, I like that Judo's like, you know, after the war, Griffith can't rise up any further in the military, so he's going to have some kind of trump card to get into being king. You know, it's Charlotte. She's the fastest shortcut. And so, as fate would have it, Julius, the next in line to the throne, and his son, who would likely have married her, are now dead by the hands of another. Isn't that funny? And the queen and the ministers, they're all dead too. And thanks to that, the military award ceremony is still postponed. And I like the Guts is like, oh shit, we caused all that. Was this all Griffith's plan? Oh. And I like that Judo kind of figures it out for a second and is like, I'm not going to talk about it. We're not going to go there. I feel like Judo figured it out. He's like, oh well. And he's like, don't tell anyone. It's not that I don't trust them. The Hawks are bound by one fate after all. But I don't want to reveal to them my dirty side. They need to only feel as though we're rising up. You're rough enough to share this with to the end. Ooh. I like that idea that Griffith is like, I trust you, Guts. I trust you more than anyone. So you're my special someone I can share this with, but I don't want everybody else to know because I don't want them to think that I'm dirty, but I know that you don't think I'm dirty, so it's fine. I feel like Judo in that moment is asking Guts about Casca to be like, look, if you're not going after Casca, I might, because she clearly is not getting with Griffith. And then in any case, this means those who interfere with Griffith's ambitions are dead. And the princess, she's in love with him. That's probably by his design. There's no way he'll miss this chance. As for Casca, Griffith is truly special. It goes beyond any feelings for him. He rescued her from despair and gave her a new life. So it's more than love she feels for him. It's more like worship. Yeah, she idolizes him more than actually physically loves him, right? And we kind of talked about that last volume. Yet all her efforts, can she find happiness being a woman longing for a man she can't ever have? If she loves him, shouldn't she want to be held by him? Yeah, moreover, beside him is the woman he can afford to refuse. He can't afford to refuse in fulfilling his dream. That woman can grant him the thing he desires most, the one thing Casca can definitely not offer him. And to me, that's not love, right? Griffith is choosing his dream of becoming king more than the fact that he's choosing his dream more than Casca suggests that he doesn't love Casca. It's just not there, because if you were a human and you love someone, you would find a way to incorporate that into your dream. That's not happening with Griffith, so that's not happening here. And I like that Judo's taking the time to explain all this to Guts, being like, hey, have you considered all this? Because it's a thing. And he's like, that must be unbearable dealing with that. And he's like, so what about Casca? Do you ever think you'd like to have her? And Guts is like, she's a fine woman. She's better than those noble girls. It's hard to find a woman you can trust to watch your back on the battlefield. But less a woman, I see her as a comrade. No, that's not it. And I almost love that, because Guts is like, I don't lust after her as a woman. She's my friend. But, I mean, that's the basis of a great relationship right there, right? And I love how earnestly he says the one who has her eye is Griffith. And that's why right now I'm no good for her like this. And Judo's like, gotcha. Yeah. I like that Guts is like, as long as she... I love this for Guts saying it. Guts saying that she's his friend. He doesn't just lust after her as a female. She's his friend. And he's like, even if I do love her, she doesn't love me. So I'm not going to get in the way of that. He's like, if she doesn't love me and want me, I'm not going to reciprocate. And good for Guts. Good for Guts to realize, look, I ain't going to be nobody's sloppy seconds. And it's like, even if it's metaphorically, he's like, if she still loves Griffith, I'm not going to try to weasel my way in out of convenience. I like that. And that kind of gets Judo being like, son of a bitch. Because Guts is saying, like, unless she loves me and unless it's consensual and mutual, I'm not going to just be like, well, you can't be with Griffith, so I'm going to weasel my way in and love you. He's like, I ain't like that. And I feel like at that moment, Judo's like, son of a bitch, that's kind of what I was trying to do by outing you that you didn't want to be with her. So I feel like at that moment, Judo's like, well, I can't do that because then I'm no better than what you just said. And it's like, right. It seemed there was hope for you, though. And I like that Guts is like, look, I got to go on a journey of self-discovery. We'll have time for all that later. Oh, man, I love this chapter. Oh, but then there's this. Everybody's there. Oh, look how they all are conveniently blocking out Griffith. Look at this shit. Look at this. And then Rickard, don't you like the Band of the Hawk, mister? Don't you like us? And then Casca's like, are you really leaving us? She's like, sorry. Sorry, I had to do this. I love how pissed Corcus looks. Corcus is like, why am I here? Why is there a love triangle? What is going on? The morning departure, chapter 2. Oh my god. I like that Guts just packed nothing. Guts was not, he was going meager. My dogs. And Griffith's like, are you leaving? He's like, yeah. Are you quitting the Band of the Hawk? And Guts is like, yeah, I'm sorry. And at that point, Griffith's like, I know, right? That doesn't explain anything. Why? And I like that Guts is like, look, it took me an hour to talk to Judo about this, so I don't have time to explain to you all individually. And Judo's like, I'll tell them all later, right? We'll explain this at a later date. It's a man's decision. Let him go. I like that Rickard still is just like, what? But he's vital. We can't let him leave. But the war's being over, so Guts really isn't vital anymore. We were invincible before he joined. He ain't the only reason he's strong. I like that Corcus is like trying to tell Rickard to shut up. And he's like, I hated you from the start. I aimed my bowgun at your back more than once or twice in battle. And I love that Judo's like, you moron. And Rickard's like, why would you do that? He's like, now I see why you pissed me off. It's that face, that stone cold face, that intense scowling mug gets under my skin. Oh, Corcus. He's like, that face. Like you're in some kind of agony. Like you're the only one walking the path of profound suffering that no one understands. Like you're the only one who's special. Don't be so proud. You ain't special. You can never become Griffith. But Guts doesn't want to become Griffith. He just wants to stand beside him and be his equal. He doesn't, I'm glad that he can't become Griffith. I'm glad that I feel like that's maybe some foreshadowing that Guts is not going to become a demon on the level of Griffith. I'm glad about that. But he has been suffering. And then, again, we do the anime trope of not seeing what the mouth of Griffith, like what he's truly thinking. He's like, you're no longer one of the Hawks. If we meet on the battlefield, you better watch your back. I thought that Corcus was going to do something to betray Guts. I really thought he was going to attack him, but Eclipse and all. And I like that Guts responds with thanks for everything after that. And then Casca. And then, why not try your luck with... I like that Judo's looking over at Guts like, this is your chance to say something to her, Guts, And his face kind of falters. Do you think you'd like to have her? And he does. The thing about it is he does want to be with her. He does want to be with her and he wants to tell her, but he's like, no, I'm not going to be that guy. And that's when Griffith sticks his sword in the situation and is like, speaking of which, oh, Griffith looks like such a 90s evil villain there. Oh, I told you that you belong to me. Oh my God. Yep. Again, you look at this juxtaposition. You have Griffith, or you have Guts respecting Casca and saying, until Casca talks to me and it's mutual and consensual, I'm not going to push her. I'm not going to emotionally manipulate her. I'm just going to go do my thing. Casca's still trying to reason what her actual feelings are and go through things. But then Griffith is like, no, you're mine. I'm not letting you leave. I'm not giving you consent. I'm like, oh shit. I won you. I won you with this. Your fight and your death, I hold both. If you want to leave my grasp, then it'll be the same as that time. Wrest yourself away by my sword. Like, Griffith is possessive, and the femto stuff makes all the more sense now. I like that Guts is like, guess we can't just say smile and take care. You're serious. Oh, damn. Look at this. Look at this double spread on the snowy mountain. It's like such a parallel to back in like volume 2. Or volume 3, actually. Oh. I love it. I love it so much. Ooh, I love that Griffith looks stone cold serious. He's like, yep. But it's been 3 years and Guts has been doing nothing but training his sword. And then they're going to fight. Poor Rickard. Rickard looks so scared. And she's like, what's wrong with all of you? And then what are we going to do without swords? And then Judo says, did you forget living luxuriously amongst the regular army? What's taken by the sword must be recovered by it. That's the mercenary, our ironclad rule. It's been that way since before coming to Midland. And then Judo's like, but she's changed too. Oh, wow. Oh my God. That whole thing with Femto and the helmet and her cracking out of the egg. Oh, that symbolism. The old Casca would have never cared if it came down to comrades getting hurt. She wouldn't have faltered at losing her own life if it had been Griffith's will. To Casca, his word was gospel. Maybe that's still the truth, but is she herself aware that she's begun to change? Wow. And that idea of Femto holding Casca in the palm of his hand and her like being this little egg and the fact that, here's the thing, he held her like the behelit, like an egg of the king in the palm of his hand, and everything he said, she'd obey his every whim. But now she's holding a sword that's like, well, the sword she's holding is the one that like Griffith gave her, but almost seems like her cracking out of the egg is like her with Guts' sword. It's that same pose. And Judo's like, even if she still believes that Griffith's word is the end all be all, he's like, does she realize that she's starting to also want to be with Guts? Like, she's not devoted to Griffith like she was before. Oh my God, that's incredible. Oh, that face that Griffith makes is like, on one page he looks like a demon and he looks like Femto and he looks absolutely like a bird about to devour a worm, and on the other page he's looking up to Guts looking like an angel. Mira. Yep. Even if I'm hated or treated like a traitor. Yep, that's why. And then he goes back to Griffith at the fountain. A friend is one who's my equal. I have to go to be his equal. Oh, man. These past 3 years, Guts has cut his own path to the battlefield. Oh, Griffith is a genius when it comes to sword technique, but Guts' skill has been so honed on the line between life and death that his is a sword of carnage. Griffith's face lacks its usual composure. Their strength is equally matched. That's why Griffith had to become a demon, because they were getting to be equals. Can't have that. Oh my God, are we on the last chapter? Shit, we're on the last chapter. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, this entire spread, all this volume is so good. 8, my lucky number, has not steered me wrong. Damn, look at these two. Has there been a rivalry like Guts and Griffith? I dare say. Oh my God. I feel strangely calm. I'm up against Griffith. There's no way I can drop my guard. 3 years ago, that day was like this one. Yeah, and going through. Yep. I mean, I like that they're recognizing that Guts has become strong these past 3 years, but if anybody could stop him, it's Griffith. But, oh, is that my wish? Do I want him to stay? I love this discussion of wishes in this volume because it's basically going back to the Behelit and the idea of granting wishes, but Casca realizing, being like, I don't want Guts to go. I'm not ready for him to leave. And it's not just because of his, what he could do for the Band of the Hawk and what he does for Griffith. She's like, I want him to stay. Not for Griffith's sake, but for mine. Yep. They're poised and devoid of precariousness. That's how firm you are in your resolve. Oh, how badly do you want to leave my grasp? You can't. I won't have it. I won't let you. Oh man. But what do I do? His speed and power are nothing like they used to be. I can't parry his attack anymore. If I can, my sword won't last past 2 or 3 strikes. And all this snow, my movement is hindered. Victory must come from the first strike. I like that. Like, Guts just has this resolve. He's like, I'm going to do this. And Griffith is panicking because he realizes that he may not be as advantageous as he was in the past. But man, oh my God, that desperation. I have to have him. Oh, the instant his blade falls, I'll deflect it and slice into the top of his shoulder. He's like, my speed and timing can't be off. It's a strike I won't be able to constrain. There's no other technique I can use to beat him now. If successful, even Guts wouldn't escape unarmed. Oh my God. No. If in an instant our swords meet, the pressure from his alters the arc of mine even just a little bit, I might kill him. Oh, but even then, if I can't have him. Because there's a moment where you're like, did Griffith falter because he realized that he could kill Guts and he didn't want to kill Guts because he doesn't want to kill what's his, right? It would seem like a waste, or he loves him or whatever. But then there's this moment where he's like, if I can't have him, no one will. And I'm like, it's like, oh, Griffith's a yandere. Well, we should have known that from the start. Oh. He's like, I don't care. Oh. And then there he goes. But there it goes. He deflected it. And it sliced off the blade and Miura. Oh, this use of white space. He stopped it. Oh. And him grabbing his hand. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, the hand dropped. Take care. Holy shit. Take care. And then Casca's like, oh my God, yeah. And then she goes to call for Guts. But he's already gone. Oh, she does call for him. Yes, Guts. Yeah. Guts didn't look back. And Corcus can't accept. Oh, I love that shot of Casca just looking off. Her torn heart being like, girl, you should have gone with him. You should have gone with him. You two could have pieced out. That would have been the end of things, but can't have nice things. I love that shot. Oh, is this? Oh, wait. Oh, no. It's all right. It's like stumbling on a rock on the roadside. It's petty, a small thing. The place you want to go is more distant, farther off. So it's all right. You'll stand up and you'll start walking soon. Oh, I thought for a second, because of course they give us volume 9's cover right there. I thought that for a second that was Femto and him being born as Femto, but it looks like it's him in the bed sheets after the incident with Charlotte. But it's the same pose, so... Oh my god. This volume was incredible. Oh my god, this volume was incredible. Getting the extra information about Julius and the Queen, getting the extra moments with Judo and Guts. It was so good. Oh my god. But yeah, I just it's so frustrating because it makes more sense now in the manga, because in the anime I'm like, Guts, if you'd waited 2 more days, we don't have that concept that it's been a month since all that went down. So you think to yourself watching the anime, you're like, Guts, if you'd waited a couple more days, they would have been nobility. You could have just stayed with Griffith a little longer. But Guts is like, I feel like Guts was realizing, he's like, the longer I stay here, the more I'm not getting anything accomplished, and the less likely it is that I'll leave. And he's like, I gotta leave. And the thing about it is, Griffith feels so betrayed because he's like, you know, we made that promise back when I had you join the Band of the Hawks that you belonged to me and you would die whenever I said you were good and ready to. And now you're suddenly strong enough that you can leave. Well, that's not fair. And the thing about it is, there's a possessiveness there. It's like, Griffith, if you loved Guts in a healthy degree, you would let him go and you would get why he's going. But he doesn't. And he takes it very badly. It does not go well. Him leaving hits very awfully, and it just goes to shit after that. But half of it is Guts being like, Guts not realizing the extent to which Griffith loved him and Griffith depended on him. And Guts was the anomaly. Like, Griffith could walk over anyone and step over any stone, but Guts was the exception. Because even though he said he didn't care in that moment, it's like, I think he did. I think he's like, there was a part of him that's like, I don't want to kill Guts. I don't want to use him as a stepping stone. And then because he faltered in that moment, Guts' resolve won out. And it just... I think Griffith dies at this moment. I think Griffith dies at this moment realizing it's either this moment or when you could argue it's this moment. You could argue it's after Charlotte. You could argue it's in the dungeon. You could argue it's during the eclipse. But I think this was the moment that, like, the sword was stabbed in Griffith's heart. And Griffith realized, shit, Guts is the one person, the one entity that I don't want to use as a stepping stone. He's the pebble in the gear. He's the grain of sand in the gear throwing everything off. And it does get everything thrown off. And then that leads to Griffith deciding, yeah, I've got to sacrifice Guts and the others and just erase the fear that he has, the fear of Guts that Griffith has, that Guts will destroy everything he's worked for. When he becomes Femto, he makes that decision. I'm going to erase everything I fear, and then nothing will stop me. Except Guts doesn't die, so I'm going to be interested when we get to that point in the manga to see if we get expansion on that, you know. But oh my god, I've talked for nearly 2 hours about this volume, but it's worth it, right? Oh, I have a feeling that the next volume and subsequent volumes are going to have a pretty lengthy discussion, so I hope y'all are ready for that. Hope y'all are ready, tee-hee. But oh my gosh, y'all, so... Anyway, I'm really excited. I hope y'all are too, but I hope y'all have a wonderful week. I hope y'all enjoyed this volume and discussion. I'm excited to hear your comments down below, but yeah, I probably will not be waiting too long for comments to read volume 9. partially because I want to read it now, but partially because I have some scheduling things. I need to be gone the next week, so I need to go ahead and read it in a few days and get that up and ready on Patreon before I go. So if I don't get to any comments by Volume 9, then I definitely will for Volume 10 have a bunch of stuff to talk about, so that'll be exciting. But in any case, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back real soon to talk about Volume 9 of Berserk. Bye!